This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description. Hello and welcome everyone to our 186th session of HalloCasa. My name is Michael and today I'm talking to Maria-Alexandra Mihăilă, EU and International Affairs Manager at CEPI, the European Association of Real Estate Professions based in Brussels with a strong academic foundation from the Institute of European Studies at ULB and University of Bucharest. Maria-Alexandra brings a deep understanding of European diplomacy, international cooperation and real estate regulation to her role. Her professional journey includes roles at the permanent representation of Romania to the EU, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to Romania, and the National Commission for UNESCO, where she supported policy development, international dialogue, and heritage mapping. At CEPI, she now plays a pivotal role in aligning European real estate standards with global frameworks, contributing to cross-border cooperation and professional excellence in the sector. Maria, thank you so much for your time today. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Michael. Hello and hello to all your listeners. I saw that you have listeners around the world. Thank you for all this detailed presentation. It's I'm very grateful for this. Thank you for this invitation. It's a pleasure, a real pleasure to be in this podcast with you. I know that before you had someone from CEPI, so I'm not the first one, but I'm really happy today to share with you and with all your listeners insights from the EU, directly from Brussels, and from our work and our activities on the policy side. So as a bit of introduction, I think you mentioned already 95% of my past and my work activities. So yeah, since 3 years now, almost 3 years, I work in CEPI. I started here as an intern while I've done my studies in Brussels at ULB in European Studies. And I started as an intern for 6 months after I remained. And since then, I work as EU and International Affairs Manager. I take care here in our secretariat of everything related to relations with the European institutions, with the Parliament, with the Commission, with the Council. And in the end, it's the main role is to connect our national associations with the EU decision makers and with the EU environment.
You have been working in many roles so far already. What's the difference for you right now working for CEPI, and what is basically like driving you and your motivation on increasing housing and real estate across the European Union?
So interesting question, Michael. It's something that I was asking myself, of course, when I decided to join the team of CEPI. So as you mentioned, also a bit of my activities while I was a student, I had these roles. In fact, I wanted to try a bit of public sector. I wanted to try. It was my first dream, let's say, to work in diplomacy. That's why first, when I was student in Romania, I've done this internship at Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the domain of archives. So it was my first experience in the public sector with diplomacy. After, when I decided to came to Brussels to continue with my master, I say, okay, this is the chance, Brussels, for everyone who wants to work in EU environment and also in relation with the national ministry, national politics, let's say, Brussels is the best place. So that's why I decided to join the team in permanent representation to see how is the diplomacy from outside of Romania. And this was a very good experience from the beginning. I think most of my experience is based here in Brussels at the permanent representation. And after this, I finished also, it was in my last year of master, and I said, okay, the internship that I supposed to do, it was mandatory internship for my master to finish my studies. I want to do it in the private sector, let's say, not exactly in the EU institutions, but I want an association, organization, non-profit, and this sort of place I wanted to work in. And CEPI at that point in time, they were looking for interns. And it was, I could say, a big step it was kind of a difference. It was also a difference in the team. For example, in the ministry, in the permanent representation, it's a bunch of people. I mean, we talk about a couple of hundred, let's say. And here in CEPI, at this point in time, we are 5 permanent staff in the secretariat. But at the beginning, we were only 4, I think. And we work also with interns constantly. We have 3-4 interns per year who are helping us in different domains and activities. But this, I could say, it was a big step, but very interesting. And since that time, I decided that I kind of like this kind of environment. That's why I'm still here. And I will work on this environment as it's fitting most with my personality and with my way of working. So it was a big difference, but in the end, it's something that is fitting for me. And it's also the fact that here in Brussels, you have a lot of places to choose. It's, as I said, if you want European Union, if you want something related to your national ministry activities, if you want a small association, a big association, you find everything. So it's the place that you can choose and you can start going everywhere that you want, see if it's fitting for you. If not, just choose another one. So, that's why it was a very, very big step, let's say, also from Romania to Brussels. But in the end, yeah, you find your place. And I think I find mine in this kind of work environment as a small association, how we are here at CEPI.
Yeah, and I also did a bit of research, of course, regarding your career previously. You have a passion for humanitarian activities and also migration. So this is definitely also aligned. Now, talking about policies and pushing them, I believe, never worked in public sector, but I believe it's a challenge. You know, you have to talk to probably like a lot of regulatory bodies. You have to be very intense regarding following up and pushing through things. First question here, also for the audience to understand maybe the landscape in which you are acting. What are the main bodies from CEPI perspective and also from your own perspective, which you have to touch upon, like you're basically like external stakeholders on an EU level, the bodies which you have to interact with so that you can push a new policy or a mandate, or the best words to use here?
Yes. So, Michael, it's for us here in the EU bubble, as we call it in Brussels, it's something that we talk daily. So I really don't want to bore anyone with this kind of European Union notions, even if we studied it at school that much. But yeah, so in our activity, this is our daily, I could say that the daily program, you know, if I explain to you a bit the bodies that are in the EU. So mostly us in CEPI, as I told you, the policy part that we are doing, it's to connect with the EU decision makers and to gather, in fact, the views of the real estate professionals, which are represented via the national association that we are representing in Brussels, to bring their views in the front, in the eyes of the EU decision makers. Now, to explain to you a bit the bodies that we are facing, we have first the European Commission, which is called a bit the executive of the European Union. So basically, they are the ones who are doing the laws. They are doing the proposals of the laws, which after they are discussed in the parliament, which is exactly like, is the same definition as a national parliament. They are representative of the whole of all the member states. So everywhere there, everyone is presenting their views, speaking, constantly discussing, meeting about these laws, and with the Council of European Union, which is represented by the national governments. So representatives from the national governments, they are coming there and discuss these proposals from the European Commission. Now, if we have a priority, and just to give you an example, because it's a top priority now since 1 year, we have housing affordability, which is it's something in the words of everyone and in the eyes of everyone now in the European Union. If we have a topic, and it's we know from our national members that this is very important from them, we have our contacts, we have persons to go at in the commission, in the parliament, and say, look, this is very important, let's put it on the table and let's discuss about it. Now on housing, it's a bit special, let's say, because they took the lead in 2024, and there were a lot of developments after a lot of lobby and efforts from the member states, from the organizations like us, to put it on the table of the EU decision makers. And of course, now we have a commissioner, we have a committee in the parliament. But yeah, so these are mostly the bodies that we are working with when we talk about legislative files. Now with them, as work strategies and contacts, it's mostly, as I told you, we have contacts. There are contacts that are there since years, and it's in the end, this is my activity daily, to go to meet them, to talk with them, phone calls, mails. Let's discuss. Let's drink a coffee. Let's chat about priorities. What is now? What is in 2 weeks? In 1 year? So this is the daily activity, but I can tell you that only these 3 institutions, they have different way of work. So it's everyone has this idea of very difficult together and to have a decision, a common decision after discussion of all the member states, and of course after discussion of all the members of European Parliament, because in the end, it's the idea is to reach an agreement and to have common way to finalize and to do the things, the practical things. They have very different ways of working, and from our part, from the policy part, in CEPI, it's a matter of adaptability, to go and to adapt with different people, different political spectrum, because this is in the end, it's the challenge, let's say, when you meet people with different ideologies on housing, on energy. So it's a matter of adaptability, but it's the common point between them on our work. Is either you speak with a commission, with someone, the head of unit of housing task force, or with a member of European Parliament. You just need a bit of flexibility and clarity in the goals and in the objectives that we have, which of course are coming following the work that we are doing with the member state, with the member associations that we have.
Is there a certain way you collect the data in a very methodological way? I don't know, you do a combination of interviews, deep work with certain delegates, questionnaires, in order to get like the most objective, let's say, opinion, and then you try to find a common denominator. How is the process there so that you can confidently say, okay, we have a good voice, a good representative voice, which represents maybe 70% of the member associations or their desires? How is the process there with the member states?
Yes, it's a mix of everything that you mentioned. Firstly, it depends on the request that we have. Sometimes it's something that we conduct. To give you an example, we have the regulatory report. It's a report that we are doing every 2 years, and it's we put together in this report all the regulations of the countries that are represented by our members, plus some more if we have. It depends of with whom we are in contact with, but for sure we have all our member associations. And in this case, the report, it's our idea. So basically on this, we are starting with a questionnaire. It's something that we send to all our members. If there are not our members and we would like some other countries, we are trying to reach them. It's a matter of communication in the end. But the questionnaire, for example, in this case, it's the main way to find answer from their part. Of course, if we have also some timeline on this, but if we are not managing to have a questionnaire, we try with phone calls, we try with meetings, we go there, we meet them. If we receive the questionnaire and something is not clear, again, phone calls, let's have a meeting, let's be clear on this point and on this point. Like this, we can put together a page of 2 pages of the regulation in your country. So it's a matter of really communication. And in the end, I think we are doing a lot to find the answer that we really want in the end. If it's one phone call, 2, 3, 4, it's something that we have to do in the end. But yeah, so questionnaire, it's I think is the common way that we are using. If it's a request that we have from the member association in relation with something that they have at the national level and they want to see about the other countries, the other associations, here we can also just give a quick call, asking someone, put something in an Excel document and send it directly to them. So these are the answer. If it's something more urgent, we are choosing this kind of informal way of gathering data, but mostly, yeah, as I say, it's via questionnaires and via our meetings, because we have permanent technical committees. We are working in different domains. We have policy, we have communication, education. Also, it's very important. We have lobby experts, national lobby expert group, and via these groups, people are gathering there, and we have, of course, agenda and common points to discuss. And there, people are saying if they are interested in something, if something is new in their country. So it depends of the meeting, but meetings, and these are monthly. We have monthly meetings. It depends, of course, of the priorities that we have, but we have at least 3 or 4 meetings per year, this kind of specific topic, policy, education. And there people, this is the reason why I have this meeting to communicate and to discuss, to exchange information, experiences on specific topics. So this is also an important way of gathering data. And in the end, when we have the data, our work here on policy is to analyze it. To give you a bit of more concrete example, is the housing position paper that we are doing. Mostly when it's a new topic in the policy area in Brussels, and it's very, very well known as it's now housing. Organizations that are interested in this, they prepare papers, statements, which will be sent to the representatives in the parliament, in the commission. So this is the way of formal communication, let's say, between the association, between us and the policymakers. So with this paper, as I said, yeah, we send a questionnaire. We discussed, I think, minimum 4 or 5 times specific points during our meetings about what, for example, what happens in Germany, what happens in Italy, in Ireland. So people exchanges a ton of information during these meetings. And here in Secretariat, just put together the data. And in this case, we try to find a common point of all the answers that we receive, because this is the idea of a statement, a position statement. This is only a first round, let's say, because it's a general one and a common one. It's as the policymaker, they just started working on this. It's something that we want to put on the table and say, look, just pay attention at this topic. It's something that you have to tackle. It's something that it's happening in all Europe. So this paper, it's only the beginning of our work on this file. But via this one, we try to put together the common points that happens in all Europe. We want in the future to deep dive in this topic with the associations and put their specific recommendation and specific points. So again, it's only a matter of what is our goal in the end and objective with the paper that we want to do. And like this, we try to adapt the way of gathering and analyzing the data.
It sounds like your task and your role is very wide. The scope is very wide. You have a sales role, you have to be pushy, you have to do a lot of customer research, you have to make sure that the data you're gathering is coherent, a lot of data crunching, data analysis, and then you have to also navigate yourself like across the stakeholders. Is that a jungle, a chaos or a maze trying to push something towards the European Commission? Or is it that they're generally open and they are actually very receptive and grateful for your work and say, Maria-Alexandra, thank you so much for calling again? Or do they rather block? Like, how can I imagine this dynamic between both of your entities?
It's a very open relationship, I could say. It's I think a lot of people from the outside, maybe they can see, oh, I imagine that it's very difficult to reach someone from the European Commission or the European Parliament. But I can confirm that it's open relationship. It's only a matter of taking the phone. Of course, if you have some contacts that you know since years, it's that easy to take to just phone to give a call to someone and say, hey, how it's going? Can we meet a bit? Can we see a bit of specific recommendation, or can we have a quick chat? It's open, and they are open with the stakeholders, because I think there are a couple of years, several years, since the EU decision maker they realized that there is no way to do legislative files and proposals and to change something realistically without the implication of the stakeholders. So it's something that they realized, and you can see it in practice, also with people from the European Parliament. We could say that it's a bit easier to meet in the Parliament and to see them in the Parliament, because it's easier for us as stakeholders to enter physically in the European Parliament. That is just a matter of networking and communication. In the Commission, it's a matter of practicalities, let's say. But it's easy enough to just call, and they are very open to have meetings online, in person. It's something that can happen daily. It's there is not any taboo, let's say, taboo. Also with the Council of the European Union, there are permanent representations. All the member states, they have permanent representations. So it's, again, there it's a bit of, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's a diplomacy word. So it's a bit more, you need to take care a bit more with their practicalities. They can meet on sometimes in some hours, the phone calls. But again, from my experience, I saw openness from all the bodies of the EU decision-making process. Again, I think it's a matter of adaptability and see a bit with whom you can reach easily or not. But yeah, I think we can have a positive vibe.
You mentioned before the initiative and policy for affordable housing, and I also talked with Cosmos about it before. You have another one regarding the money laundering for real estate. Let's start with the housing one and give us an overview there, what it encompasses, what it comprises, and the status there.
Yes. So yes, as I say, housing is something that it's on our desk, on my desk, since 1 year now, because it was a request from literally 95% of our associations, and this made us to think that, okay, this is a real problem, and it's something that we really need to bring into the attention of the EU decision makers. The good timing and a bit of luck we had with the fact that they saw also that is the same problem in all the member states, and with the new commission and the new parliament, with the election, after the elections last year, we had finally a commissioner for housing, and everyone realized, okay, this is something that for real will be tackled and will be taken care of. After, we had a committee in the European Parliament, a housing committee, which, again, I know that Cosmas talked a lot about it, and this committee, it's an effort of a couple of years, because housing before last year and before this practical decisions, it was a subject. It was a subject on a couple of the agendas of other committees, but it was never a point on the agenda, like the point on the agenda. And this happened last year. And after a lot of discussions with our members, we say, okay, it's something that we need to work on. And since 6 months, because we started in the beginning of 2005, we started with this questionnaire, as I said, and we gather all this info. And via these questionnaires, of course, me with my colleague, because we are two working on the policy part, we gather all this data and we analyze it. And of course, we are not experts. I'm not experts in housing or in. If I work on policy, it doesn't matter that it doesn't mean that I'm expert in all these points that I'm working on. And when I was reading, I saw it from my personal life that the housing is a bit of a problem. And when I was reading all the answers, I say, oh yeah, it's something that need to be discussed. It happens everywhere, and it was kind of, let's bring awareness, because it became a bit more personal. It's not just a topic; it's something that affects citizens and affects professionals. Of course, we talk about real estate professionals and real estate market. It's something that it's affected in a way that maybe at the first sight we cannot even imagine. But even if you don't feel it now, will be felt in not long term, I would say. It's something that it's kind of short term and long term, which is again the problem. And via this paper, we try, as I said, only in the first phase, to bring together some key challenges that we found common from all this, from all the members. And here we have, of course, I'll just mention, because it's also the good news that this paper will be released today, 15, because we are recording on 15. So we are planning now, my colleagues are planning now to give it away to the world. So via this paper, we try to put 3 common challenges that we found. And just to mention them a bit, and because of course we are proud with the work that we have done. It's so we put first one, it was the policies of the governments. Again, all these member states, they have all different policies, and it's a matter of just coordination. But again, in some countries, this can impact totally different the real estate market. So it's not the same effect policies in Ireland as it is in Italy. So in the end, for us, it was a key challenge. Another one would be the home ownership and all these kind of financial barriers. Again, how you afford to have a house, who afford to have a house now, which are the categories of persons who afford and who don't. And the third one, as key challenge that we found common, was the supply side constraint. All this, everything that is related to construction cost and to other regulations that could influence in a way or another the housing, for example, forestry law or water law. Again, this is something that it wasn't tricky, but it was a bit difficult to find as common challenges. It was the fact that housing at the base is not a competence of the EU. So basically, European Union cannot just make a law and we tackle housing with this law. It's just a matter of how member states approach housing. So again, this was a bit tricky to put together. And based on these challenges that we found on housing affordability, we try to give some recommendations, because in the end, this is the point of a paper, of a statement that an organization is doing, to give some recommendations. Is again something general, which is based on, let's find a common approach, a balanced approach on rent regulation, on how the European Union, the level of the implication of the European Union in the policy. We know that European Commission now it's working on a housing affordable plan, which will be a first ever plan on this kind of issue. So we just try to give them a bit of more input of what's happening in the member states that they can use for all these actions that they will do and will be available in the first part of 2026. So yeah, this would be our work on housing. It's just the first phase, it's just the beginning. We will not stop saying this, because all we have here in Brussels, European Housing Forum, it's called. We have several associations who are working on the same topic, and we are a bit in this group together, trying to, in a way, it's a bit, when you are more, it's the power that you have, it's a bit it's growing up. So this is what are we trying to do at this moment, and we put together some letters, positions paper, meetings. We have meeting together, of course, separately, but together with the commission. It's something that we are doing on a daily basis on housing, and we will not stop. This is something that will take a bit of time, let's say.
Regarding the topic on money laundering, you're also there quite strong. What's the problem? How can I imagine, as someone who has no idea about it, what's happening there?
So anti-money laundering, I think in CEPI it was this topic became a priority since I think 10 years or something like this. And I know that it came mostly after a lot of work of the Commission on they are doing yearly reports on the risk assessment of the money laundering in the European Union. And in mostly all the reports, unfortunately, the real estate professionals and the real estate market was presented as a heaven of money laundering. And we realized that this is something that needs to be tackled. Of course, considering our goals and objectives as CEPI, which is bring transparency and to bring high standards, values for the professionals, and to bring rules and like good values for their work, this topic became very important. And we tried to tackle, and at the EU level, they work a lot on this topic. And we are in very, very close contact with the European Commission on this point. For example, last year it was adopted the sixth package of anti-money laundering rules. We have regulations, we have directives, and mostly we have an authority, which is again a first ever authority, a body who will take care only on tackling anti-money laundering issues. And on this point, but mostly was the fact that we wanted to not have the same image. It's not really estate market the one where people can launder money. And in line with our objectives, this point became very important. And now the plan and the idea is to tackle it in the future and to be there on our agendas, because we know that this will not stop. And on this sense, here in Secretariat, we have also a working group with anti-money laundering experts. We, in most of the countries and the associations that we have, they work a lot with this kind of experts, and we put them together to tackle. And of course, if we need, the European Commission needs some input and insights from the ground, as I said, from people who are working on this. Again, we are ready to give them this kind of information.
Coming now a little bit towards the trends and maybe also your personal hopes and wishes when we talk about the next years on a real estate association level, on the European Union. What do you hope for, and what do you also think might happen, also obviously with your contribution?
I think, and I really hope that, and this is in line with a top priority again that we have, and the project that we are working in, which is MMCEPI, which is the first quality label for the professional, the real estate agents and property managers. It's a first quality label in Europe, and through this has the base in I think 2018. We started with this idea, and since last year we say it became reality, and this year like reality. And it's working a lot in the line with what you asked me, because I think I would really hope for this for real estate market and for the professionals to be in line with the high standards that we propose and with the real values that we propose, in the sense, and this could help a lot the citizens, the consumers in the end, the life of the professionals, their work and their future work. And of course, the authorities, it's on the national authorities and the European Union. So I think this is mostly my hope for the future for 1 year. It's working also because it's the first year when the label is available, and we hope, of course, for next year to be more. But at this point in time, we have more than 15,000, I think even 20,000 of professionals with a label in all Europe. And it's already better, let's say, than last year. The feeling that there are already this amount of people, of professionals who have a real quality, a good quality of work in standards with some European structures, in standards with national structures, and it's already feeling better. That's why I really have hope for the future year that it's becoming, we will have another feeling. See, now we have more than 30, it's, and again, it's good for the consumer. So we really hope to have people on the street saying, yeah, that person in that real estate agent in Spain, it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah.
Maria-Alexandra, thank you so much for your time today. I really like the interaction with you. I think you have a profile which matches your motivation, your real personal desire to change something, which we can see with your early works on humanitarian work and migration, and now working on a thing and on a mission in a position where you can really leverage this one. You gave us a nice overview of CEPI. You gave us a very strong overview of how the European regulation works and the bodies work, your work there, your challenge regarding your stakeholder management. And you also gave us a very interesting story regarding affordable housing, how much of a pressing issue that is, and how you communicate the local needs towards the European Commission and Parliament. You also gave us a very strong insight regarding the problem of money laundering, which probably many people are not even aware of. And lastly, the strong initiative regarding MMCEPI to, basically increase credibility, authority, and trust towards the real estate professions. Is there anything else you would like to mention to the audience before we close this chapter today?
Just to thank you, Michael, for this podcast. It was very pleasant, and it was really a nice conversation, I could say. I'm very happy that, and thanks for the summary. It was very detailed, and I'm really happy that I had the chance to share with you and with your audience the activity that we are doing in policy and some parts about CEPI and about our work here in Brussels and how we help our professionals and how we help the national associations. And just some last words, I could say, let's just continue the work as we are doing now and continue our close relationship with the member association and with our partners. And again, many thanks to you for this opportunity and to your listeners.
Thank you so much. I'm sending the best regards to Brussels and have a good day.
Thanks, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description.